Okay, we are live. So I just named this the Soul Sister Cafe. It just kind of came to me and I was like, that sounds
Perfect.
really kind of cool. I actually
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, I
So
like
for
it too.
today, anyway,
Yeah,
for today.
I think it's
Yeah,
good.
Soul Sister Cafe. Drinking my water, not my coffee, but that'll do.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. Salud, they say in Mexico. Um,
Whew.
okay, so I'm Ava and you are?
I'm Krista Curtis.
You're Krista. Make sure you
Yes.
speak up because I
Oh,
can
we
tell you
can't.
don't have
You
an
can hear
external
me?
mic. I can hear you, but just make
Okay.
sure that you speak nice and, you know,
Okay.
use that New Brunswicker
Um,
voice,
oh, are you sure?
that backwoods New Brunswicker voice. Come on, you know you got it in you.
I do. I do.
Okay,
I
so
don't
I
know if
just
anyone
let it
wants
out
to
of the
see it
bag.
though.
Yeah, it's fine. It's all good. It's all good. Because we have to, I think we need to tell that story actually. I think we need to tell people how we met because we're still new at this like friendship thing.
Yes, we are. And it was very, very I feel like it was divine timing and the universe made it happen
Yeah, it's a great
for
way to
sure.
look at it.
hmm
Yeah,
Because
totally.
I'd been trying to get this interview thing going about my dad for months and months and months, and I had lots of backouts, and it just seemed like divine timing, and you were just there at the right time, and it was like we didn't even have to dig for something to say. It was just natural to go from one subject to the next.
Yeah, totally. I agree. Yeah.
So it must be
So
the New Brunswicker
we're
in us.
both yeah. So we're both originally New Brunswicker girls. Let's
Yes.
just put it right out there. We're
Yep.
both originally Maritimers.
hmm
And yeah, and we met last month through the Million Charges thing, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
because I ended up interviewing you for the
hmm
Million Charges platform, and we just hit it off.
Yes,
And
we
we were
did.
kind of curious about how was it that we both are around we are the same age actually, aren't we? How old are you?
I think I'm a little bit older. I'm 71.
Oh, stop. 71. Oh, you were born in 70.
I was born in 70. No, I'm not 70. I look fabulous. No, I was
I
born
was
in
going to
71.
say,
I still think I'm older than
holy,
you, though.
holy
A few
shit.
years, aren't I?
Okay, you
Yeah.
were born in 71. Yes, okay.
Yes.
So you're 4 years older than me. You are.
hmm
But still, we grew up in New Brunswick around the same time, at the same time. So how did we not
Yeah,
know each other? New Brunswick is not big.
exactly. And I even look at the parallels, like with our families. You have the three boys and one girl. I have three girls and one boy. We both left in our 30s for a new life,
Yep. Yep.
right?
Yep.
Trying something different. And it just seems like, and I never came into any of this type of thing until I moved here.
Right.
New Brunswick doesn't allow a lot of growth for stuff like that. So I'm kind of
Back
glad I kind
then,
of fell into it. Back then,
back
I don't
then
know
it
about
did.
now. I haven't lived there since 2007, so it's been a while.
It's come a long way. It has come a
Anybody
long way.
I
It's
know,
older.
yeah, anybody I know is kind of like accepting of it, but I already like those people, and those people already liked me. It's not like I'm
Yep.
meeting new people that way
Right.
there, but I am here. So,
Yeah. You are
so
here.
now I'm trying to expand my online presence so that I can help and talk to more people.
More people.
More
And you
people.
need to, because I'm going to jump right in and start just telling the whole world what it is that you do, because you do amazing work. And first, let
Thank
me show you
you.
this. I got to show you this. Look what I have. You see this?
Oh, pretty. Ooh, I love.
What crystal is it?
Very
What
nice.
is it?
That's an amethyst, I think, by the color of it. It's hard to tell because you're a
Yeah.
little off color, but it is a
Yep.
nice chunk. It feels like love to me. I love it. I
Yep.
I really
Yep.
enjoyed going through that area and touching the amethyst and choosing which ones felt right. And yeah, you're in the perfect spot for all that. Oh yeah.
Yes. This
Yeah.
northwestern Ontario region is filled
Oh
with
yeah.
amethyst.
I love that area.
Yep.
That whole
Yep.
area and through the Lake Superior. My husband and I loved it actually. We
Yeah.
really enjoyed it there. And we made a point of stopping there the second time we went through.
Of course. Yeah, you being the crystal chick. I mean,
Yes.
of course you're going to want to stop and touch the rock. I
Oh,
love
I
rocks
was
and I love,
heartbroken. The first time we went by, it was closed. And I was like,
oh,
no, no. Like by 10 minutes or 15 minutes or something. I'm like, no, it can't be. But
okay.
it was good because
Well,
I was meant to find that smaller business who was in it for the love, not the money, right?
yes,
The
right.
smaller businesses are
Give her a
usually more
plug.
geared towards.
Give her a plug. You said she was she in Pancake Bay? That lady that
Uh,
had the
it was outside. It
where
was
was she?
away from Thunder Bay towards the next place, whatever that place is. But Pancake Bay is
Nipigon,
my favorite place,
Red Rock. Yeah.
just because
Okay.
it's
Okay.
beautiful.
Yeah.
It
And
was
so
along a
this
railroad
lady
track.
had a sign out back, right? Or she had a
There
sign
was
out
like
front that
there
she
was a
was.
railroad track, and there was like a big homemade sign that said Amethyst. And I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
there we go. So it was like
Got
wasn't
my
far to go
attention.
in, and yeah, it was beautiful. Beautiful.
Cool.
I think we got a little bit of a lag, so I'm not trying to cut you off, but it sounds
Okay.
like I am. Am I?
No.
Okay. I think it's just our internet then maybe.
It's probably my internet. Just let me check it actually, because it's possible that I was hooked up to my husband's hotspot and he went outside. So let me hook
Oh,
up to my hotspot. That's okay.
that
I'll hook up to my hotspot and then we'll be good. Because that's all
okay.
I have here. I don't have Wi-Fi.
That must be a challenge in itself.
I'll hook up. I am hooked up to his, but I'm going to hook up to mine and then we'll be. There we go. It just kind of
There
went
you go.
beep
Are we
beep.
all good now? Oh, your picture is
Yeah.
even better.
Is
Oh,
it? Well, there you
fantastic.
go. That's what it was then.
Oh, it
Thanks for
fades a
letting
little
me
bit,
know that.
but it's a little bit clearer than it was.
Okay, cool.
So,
Okay, well, I want you to talk about your whole crystal thing because I was just really blown away with the session that you gave me. What was it,
oh,
two,
thank
3 weeks ago
you.
now? Well, I was.
Thank,
And and I just feel like that is your thing, right? Like there's no question that that is your thing. And I know
mhm,
that we agreed to do an exchange so that we could both work on practice
mhm,
our skills. And
uh-huh.
you just like I didn't know what to expect, right? I didn't know what to expect, and I've never
It's a
had
little
a
bit
crystal
different.
a reading with crystals.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
I think the reason it's so interesting and new is because I think I'm the only one who does it. I've made my own board, which I believe I channeled after a huge Women's Day event. There was like hundreds of people there, and it's just common energy, and it always drives everybody else's energy up. And that night, I had this dream about this thing, and I'm like, okay, this makes sense. And on the next morning, I could not even consider coffee. I had to do it now. The pull was like there was no stopping doing it. It had to be done now.
Oh, well, if
And
if if coffee was put to the back burner, well, then you know that that's you.
exactly. And I didn't even know where I was going with it. And the only paper and whatnot I had was I have cardstock. And I was like, okay, this is perfect because I have the rainbow colors. And I knew I wanted to include the chakra colors in this I'm gonna call it a board that I was making. And I got it all done and I was like, yes, it's done. I'm so happy with this. This is just what I want it to be. And then I got not yet. Not yet. So then I got, okay, I have to clarify for others. I know what the board means, but to others, I want them to know that the closer it is to them, the more current the situation, and the farther it is away is the end game if you follow the map. Basically, it's a map. It's a map of what is wrong in your chakras and how you can go about fixing them.
Right.
So I've chosen crystals that are my personal crystals that I've had for years. I know what these particular ones do for me, so that's how I judge where they land and what they mean to me.
Right.
So
You
I bring in a little bit,
you perceive them based
yeah,
on, yeah, because you have this connection.
on how they feel to me. But
Yeah.
also as I'm doing that, I'm getting my own intuition of, okay, this person needs to know this. This person needs to know this. And the rocks are just, it's like it's more of a story for the person I'm reading for,
Yeah.
because to me, I know what it means.
Yeah.
And I can sometimes do medical stuff, but I try not to, because I don't want it to be perceived as like something that I'm predicting is going to happen or anything like that. I can only read what you show me. Whatever you put down or I put down on your behalf is all that I want to know about it. I don't want to know any medical things. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychologist. All I can do is give you tools and point you in the right direction.
What I found about our session is the more we went on and the more I shared, the more you were willing to share.
Yeah, because I find some people are um, still stuck a little bit in the taboo, especially with I'm reading stones. You know what I mean? Like and it's a hard place to go. It is a hard place to go, but it's the only thing that feels natural to me. Like I read energy, always have, but people don't really understand that.
Right.
They need something concrete. They need to know
Well, they
what it is.
see, yeah, they see the stones on your map, your board that you
Mm-hmm.
created, and
Mm-hmm.
it kind of solidifies, and that pun
Yes.
intended, it
Yes.
solidifies more what you're saying because it's
Yes.
right in front of their eyes, right?
It can't be denied. And they did
Yeah.
it. All I'm doing is translating.
Right.
I'm just
That's right.
translating the information.
Yeah.
And that's what I find too if I'm doing cards or if I'm getting information. All I am is a translator.
Yeah.
Your higher self to the universe, your higher self to my higher self, however it works,
Yeah.
that's where our energy comes from. And it's
Yeah.
all from a place of good.
Right.
It's only to guide you, to help you to get where you need to be.
Right. Well, I
I'm not
found it
here to,
extremely helpful. I found it,
I'm,
well, like I told you, everything that you told me was just like totally bang on. And it was everything that I already knew pretty much. But
uh-huh.
it's one of those things where coming from another source, even
Hmm.
though I could feel it, and yes, okay, I'm intuitive. Yes, I sense
Hmm.
all that stuff, and I should just, just know that that's what it
So
is,
hard
and
though
just
for
go with it.
yourself.
Well, and that's what I found is that with myself or with those who are closest to me, it's the most challenging to be
Yes.
intuitive and to
And also
trust.
to be honest about what you're actually getting.
Yes,
Because sometimes they do want to hear it. They say they want to hear it, but they really don't want to hear it.
exactly.
And so sometimes it feels like with family that you're kind of beating your head against the wall because they're asking you for the information, but then they're not using the information.
Right, because it's coming from you. Let's face it, the people that we're closest to, we do tend to give the least credit to or whatever. I don't know. I think it's
Hmm.
human nature, honestly.
I get a lot through, always have through songs. A
Mm.
song lyric will pop up, and I'll know what it's about and who it's for. It just
Ah,
it sounds a little bit not every song. It just sounds a little bit different. Anyway, so my daughter is not very accepting of my information. Let's just put it that way.
I
And I
can't imagine
got this
why.
and I got this song and I knew it was for her. But in the past, when I approach her with this song is for you,
Right.
you need to listen to it and see what it means to you. She's not been very accepting of that. So this time, instead of that, I was like, I keep getting the song and I'm not getting who it's for. I just can't put my finger on it. I'm just going to listen to it a few more times while you're here. So I turned it on and she's sitting there across from me and all of a sudden she goes, is that for me? And I said, yes, thank you. Because
Finally.
I've been trying to, she's able to do what I'm able to do,
Sure, but she's
just not
resistant.
exactly. And she's not interested in doing what I do.
Right.
So, which is totally fine. but I still want her to have the awareness to be able to do it for herself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody, my children included, but anybody, I want them to have the ability to know this is right, this isn't right, this feels wrong, this doesn't feel wrong.
Right.
You do get feelings inside
Of
you.
course. Yeah. Of
We
course.
call it usually your conscience or
Yeah.
your intuition, but people don't follow it. And that's what the problem seems to be. Even though you're
Well,
getting that information, you're afraid
yes.
to believe that information or to follow that information. So then you just don't. You just let it go and move
Well,
on.
I find that there has been this systematic sort of dismantling of our connection to source
Oh, for
over
sure.
for God knows how long. I mean, I'll say decades, but
Mhm.
probably it's been hundreds of years, if not thousands. Who knows?
Forever. And it
Yeah,
started when they started changing the Bible,
right.
right?
I don't know.
Because it's
Did it?
not accurate anymore. It's missing a lot of important information.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 Definitely. The Bible. This is what people don't understand. The true history is the Bible was put together by humans. It wasn't written
Yeah.
by Jesus Christ, right?
No.
It was a
No.
whole. There was probably thousands more stories that didn't
Mhm.
get put in the Bible. So we got this like little tiny bird's eye
Yeah.
view,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. And really all the magical like stuff that people should know, so much of it is gone. We
Yeah.
don't have access to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
That's right.
everybody should have the ability to have information about whatever they want to know about. Good, bad, ugly. Then you decide what feels right for you.
But we do have that. It's just that we're disconnected from it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But we
We
need
do
to
have
try to
that
connect to
ability.
it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
We
Yep.
have that ability. Yeah.
Yep, we all do. We just
Yeah.
need to dig in
And
or
cultivate it.
or have the want to dig in.
Yeah. Totally. Like you said, a lot of people think they want to know. but but the truth,
Yeah.
what's that saying? The truth hurts, right?
Well,
Because
even
sometimes
that,
it does.
quite often on my social media, I use a meme. It's from a movie, and it's this guy and he's yelling, "You can't handle the truth."
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
You're asking me the truth, but you really don't want to know because you can't handle it.
That's Tom Hanks and Nicholson. Nicholson. What's his name?
Jack Nicholson?
Yes.
Jack? Really?
I'm pretty
I
sure
don't
it's
know.
Jack Nicholson that says,
I can
"You
just
can't
I just remember the
handle
guy like,
the truth."
like right in
Yeah.
your face, like
Yes, he's up on the stand in court in JAG. It's oh, what was that movie? I love that movie. Oh my
Full
god.
Metal Jacket? No.
Nope.
I'm
Nope.
thinking it was like
Tom
a war
Hanks
movie,
was
wasn't it?
not
Or
Tom
army?
Hanks, not Tom Hanks, sorry, Tom Cruise. He was the judge advocate general. He was the one that was doing the interviewing of trying to get to, yeah, Tom Cruise. Thank you, Mary. Tom Cruise. And
Mm,
I'm trying to remember the name of the movie. Oh my God, it's one of my favorite movies.
not the
And
only
he's,
one I can think of is the he was the pilot. It's the only one I can think of his.
yes, that's
I
the
don't
one.
Oh, that's the one.
Yeah.
And had Mongoose.
Yes,
That
Mongoose,
one?
that's the
His
one.
friend was Mongoose?
Yep. Oh my
I
God.
can't remember.
Oh
That's
my God.
I don't have a
You
lot of
know the
interest
damn
in Tom
movie.
Cruise. Ah,
Okay, Mary, what movie was it? If you could, A Few Good Men. Yes, that's it.
oh, okay. That's not the one I was thinking of. He's got
Yep.
done. I don't follow Tom Cruise because I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
Um, and the older I get, the harder time I'm having watch people that don't align.
Well,
And
were
not
you
that they have to be
aware
the
of them
same as
not
me.
aligning back then? You probably weren't aware of them
No, I
not
didn't.
aligning back
But
then.
as
Yeah.
I develop my thing,
Yeah.
it's like, ooh, no. I used to love horror movies and all that. I can do suspense. I cannot do horror anymore. I can't handle it. I can't handle anything gross.
Yeah.
Um, I think that comes with, I don't know, maybe more awareness.
Maturity.
That could be too.
Yeah.
That
I
could be too.
When I watch old movies from back in the 80s and 90s that we, probably loved back then, right? When I watch them now, because Kevin makes me watch movies. I'm not a huge movie watcher, honestly, but Kevin is, he loves, like, that's his thing. Me, it's music.
Mhm.
Kevin, it's movies. But anyway, when we watch these old movies, wow, do you ever give a different perspective?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God. Like,
Yeah.
did you hear what they just said? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, oh. That's
Mhm.
what the whole thing is for me
Yeah.
now when I
Yeah.
watch the
And that's
movies.
and it drives my husband crazy because I do the same thing, especially if I'm picking up on a plot before it happens,
Yeah.
because that happens too, especially if I'm watching something live. The first time I experienced it on TV, I was watching Judge Judy, and I had to shut it off. I couldn't watch it anymore for a while.
Because you
It
already
was the
knew what was
dad.
going to happen.
Well, it was the dad, and he was fighting with his daughter. And I said to my husband, all he wants is his daughter back. And I was so sad for him. And I started crying. I couldn't handle it anymore. And she's like, "Rah, rah, 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 rah." She's so upset. And I'm thinking, look at your dad. Just look at him. Look at his face.
Yeah.
You must feel him. You must feel your own dad.
Yeah.
And I just felt so bad for him. And I was like, I can't believe I could just feel that so strong. And it was probably pre-recorded. Like, obviously it didn't happen at that moment,
Of
but I could
course.
just feel him. And he was just so broken over it.
Yeah.
And to make someone else feel that way, I just couldn't handle it.
Yeah. Well, what
No.
I have found being like, I don't even like to say being intuitive because we're all intuitive, but I'm
I
just
think it's
aware of it.
aware. Oh,
Just
yeah,
aware
it's
of it,
awareness.
right?
Yeah.
But what I
Yeah.
have found being aware of my intuition and trusting what I feel, which has taken me a long time to get to that place in myself.
Hmm.
It's a
Yeah.
process, man. But
It
what I
is.
have found is that it's almost annoying to watch new movies that I haven't seen before because I already know what's going to happen. So I'm
Yeah.
sitting there like already like seeing, oh, well, this is
Uh-huh.
going to happen. Well, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, this is going to happen. And then there's really not a lot of whole hell of a lot of suspense, you know?
No. I
So
like
I'm
to
just really,
watch a lot of like documentary or
yeah,
um mystery type
yeah,
stuff, like,
right.
mysteries of the universe type stuff, not
Yeah,
not like not like crime stuff, like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Um I enjoy the thinking about what the possibilities could be,
right,
because you don't get that on a, a fabricated movie. You would get that
right,
more in a documentary or someone talking about an experience that happened to them.
right. Yeah, that's right. So on that note, maybe we should talk about that a little more because I know that there's people watching who are still new at accepting their intuitive ability. They're still learning how to trust it, right?
Yes. Hmm.
Um, what do you remember a time in your life when you used to get those strong intuitive nudges or those intuitions, but you completely ignored them? Like you were like,
Oh,
no way.
well, from the time I was younger, I could tell when people liked me or didn't want me around, or I could just pick up on that. I didn't realize that it was a little bit stronger than some people. Like, I thought that everybody knew that.
Right.
I just assumed everybody was like that. And when I came here, it was probably not until about 2012, and I met this person, and I believe the person to be my twin flame. A twin flame is just someone who activates you to want to start your journey or to continue on your journey. Is my
Oh,
belief.
oh,
Not,
okay.
I know a lot of people think it's like a sexual partner or a romantic partner. To me, it's just a person who activates your energy. You
Okay.
activate theirs, they activate yours. Anyway, this person's like, what do you do? How come you're not reading? What are you doing? You know this, you know that, you should be doing this. And I'm like, I don't know. And then I got into the pendulum because I didn't trust my gut, because
Right.
I would hear or have the knowing of maybe perhaps not being around a certain person. And then I'm like, nah, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. It
Right.
can't be that bad, really. So I give the person the benefit of the doubt, and then I get my butt handed to me every time. So then I got, okay, when I get these feelings, I'm going to have some way to clarify whether this is correct, what I'm believing or not. So I started using the pendulum. And then I got to the point where I felt like I was using it too much. And I was depending on it to give me answers that I should already know, really should already know. So then I
So you
got
were testing your own intuition then.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was backing up my information,
Right. Right.
basically, is what I felt like I was doing.
I think we all
So
go
then
through that
after,
stage.
yeah, and I think after I did that, I realized I was using it too much, and that I noticed because I'd used it so much that when I'm getting a yes, this is how I feel. When I'm getting a no, this is how I feel. So then I was like, well, why do I need this for?
Right.
So then I put it aside. I use it occasionally now,
Hmm.
but it's usually for like I have one that I specifically when I want to connect with my mom
Mm.
because I wanted that one to be more sacred. And usually, if I'm in a reading, I bring them with me. I have three of them. I have a amethyst one that I have to restring. I have a citrine one, and I have a um, what's the other one? Oh, I can't remember now. Anyway, I got three of them that the one that I made for mom has the Apache tear and other protection and high vibration stones for the handle. So I wanted that one specifically to be for if I wanted to contact her because I associate Apache tear with ancestors. So
Oh,
it
so you
helped
made your
me.
own, you made your own pendulums.
Oh yes, yeah,
Oh, okay. Okay.
I do. So I wanted one specifically to be for connecting with my mom. And
Hmm.
so when I was making it, I put the energy of it, my mom and I. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So I felt like
Yep.
and I did get the answers that I was looking for to clarify. And I did have the um, physical information to back it up. So I know that the answers I was getting were correct.
Right.
So, but it makes it hard though if you have to depend on a tool to do that. So when
Yes.
you depend on your feeling of your body, how your head feels, how your stomach feels, if you feel nervous, if you feel like you want to get away, if you
Yeah.
feel like you want to go in closer, your body tells you. If you walk up to a person and instantly you go, whew, you feel like you need to back up, then you need to back up. But you also need to turn your chakras away from that person. You don't want
Ah,
to line up with them.
right.
It's your body warning you not to line up with that person. So, and it doesn't have to be obvious. You can just, shift your weight from one leg to the other. Anything to not be obvious about it would be a nice thing to do. Like you can't just say, I feel like I can't be around you, but it's nicer just to do that for a few minutes and then your
Why
body,
not? That's a perfectly fine thing to say to somebody, isn't it? Sorry.
yeah, if you don't want to speak to them ever again.
This is true.
I and it's hard as somebody who wants to help people and loves energy and all that. It's hard to say to some people that their energy is too much.
Yeah.
So instead of saying that, you can offer them ways to fix that. Like if I find like I know a few people who are like high vibration, and to me when I'm around them, it feels like I'm doing this like all over my body, and I'm not. I'm physically not, but
Yeah.
that's what I'm feeling on the inside of them. And
Right.
so I hand them tourmaline, settle them down a little bit, ground them a little bit
You
because
hand them
I
tourmaline?
yes,
Oh, okay.
like a stone, like I'll
Yep.
hang on to this while we're talking. Right? When I saw my stepdaughter over the summer, I hadn't seen her in quite a while, and she was really nervous and excited. It took me about 15 minutes to even ground myself. She was
Wow.
at high vibration, and it was
Wow.
just because she was excited that she hadn't seen me in a while, right?
Sure.
So it's
Well, and
interesting.
grounding, I'm glad you bring up grounding because you cannot, you can't reduce the importance of grounding. And I find that so many people seem to, I don't know, like disregard it, or, oh, yeah, whatever, grounding. Like, but
Mm-hmm.
honestly, if we ground, if we don't ground, I should say,
Mm-hmm.
holy
Yeah.
hell, man. Like, there is so much, there are so many energies that are bouncing around us and
Mm-hmm.
coming into us, and
Yeah.
not just from other beings, right, in our
No.
presence, but EMFs as well, right, from
Absolutely.
Wi-Fi and from
Mm-hmm.
all these low orbit satellites, and routers are pumping out, cell phones, right, are pumping out
Yeah.
shit. And I mean, so this is all
Shungite.
stuff that impacts us. We are electrical beings, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we need to be practicing these very basic grounding techniques, even if
Oh
people
yes.
just, just
It
something
doesn't take
simple.
much. Yeah.
It doesn't take much, but
Um,
it makes a world of difference.
there's a few, like one of the things I do is the shungite. I use a lot of stones. Shungite's
Yeah.
good for EMFs and
Okay.
for cleansing and purifying and
Is that
all the
white
good. It's
shungite?
no, the black one. It's almost like,
Oh,
and it almost like,
go
oh,
that way a
sorry,
little
this
more.
way. There we
There we
go.
go.
It
Yeah.
almost like, oh, when you first get it, it almost like be dusty like charcoal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and but it's good for putting in water too, to purify your water.
Oh, okay.
There's also I always tell people get your feet in the dirt. That's the easiest, fastest way to do it. In the dirt or in the grass.
Totally.
Um, Tree smells. If you have nothing else besides some essential oils that smell like a pine tree, sniff it. Like trees are very grounding. Um, I have noticed in the last since 2020, because I read energy, most people that I read are either really high energy, like high vibe up in their head, or they're low vibe, like down in their, not low vibe, sorry, lower vibration coming out of the chakras.
Lower
So they're
chakra.
either very grounded or they're very in their head, one or the
Yeah.
other.
Right.
I'm more of the earthy type energy, even though I'm water. I know people who are more in the higher realm energy, but I'm noticing since 2020, there's a lot of people who are both, which is very confusing for me because I've never seen it before.
But wouldn't that mean that they're a little more balanced?
Um,
Or you mean they're more extreme? They're either one extreme or the other, or at the
yeah, okay, for instance, my friend who I would consider to be a fairy energy, she's
okay,
more in the higher realm energy. She's more like white, glowy, light information. Mine's more grounded to the earth information. Mine's more, okay, ground that into the earth. You don't need it. Hers is more, give it to the universe because she's in a higher, her stuff is more in the higher chakras than mine.
right.
And she is a fire and I'm a water. I don't know if that makes a difference or not. But I think we all have our areas where we're better. So she's better in a higher vibration and I'm better in a grounding vibration.
Okay.
But I'm finding with my readings that a lot of people I'm coming across are both right
Hmm.
now. I think it's because they're spiritually they're getting there and they're on their path and they're doing their thing. But emotionally and physically in this world, they're having a hard time staying grounded to who they are and what they believe and where they live and their home and their job and their everything is so up in the air right now. Nobody's putting the roots down. They need to put the roots down,
Yep. I
even if
agree.
it's just even if it's just to ground to Mother Earth for a few
Yep.
minutes,
Yep.
because it feels like nobody, everybody's walking on glass, afraid to step too hard.
Well, I have to wonder if that is just because of everything we've been through the last few years.
Oh, that
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Because before it was so easy, like even if I met somebody, I could tell where their vibration was at.
Mm.
Some people are just like kind of center, like very
Yeah.
balanced, not high, not
Yeah.
low. But I find a lot of readers are either really high one way or really high the other way
Right.
because that's where our energy. I think a lot of our energy, I think a lot of my energy would be Mother Earth energy,
Mm-hmm.
whereas my friends would be a lot of like, higher, like Pleiadians
Yeah,
and guides and whatever else everybody has their own beliefs. I don't try to push it on anybody. So even when I'm praying or whatever, I tell people to use whoever they feel resonates with them.
of
Because what
course.
I always say universe or
Yeah,
creator, but to me that's God, Jesus, Buddha, like whoever your path leads you to is who creator would be.
yeah,
But in the grand scheme of things, I think it's all the same person.
yeah.
We just have different
It's the same
different
entity.
ways to get there. Different beliefs, different
Yeah,
culture, different legends, different stories, but basically it's all the same. It's a higher being that we know is here with us.
yeah, totally. I don't get caught up in the language. I think that's
No.
probably where and I think that it's been a bit of a block for me in my life, that
Yeah.
I didn't feel that I had the language to describe what I was experiencing,
Yeah.
or what I was seeing, what I was feeling, whatever. And maybe there was a time, not now, but there was a
Hmm.
time when I saw that as a weakness, or as
Yeah.
I don't know enough, or I'm not smart enough, or I'm not gifted enough, or whatever word you want to put in there. Either
Hmm.
way, it provided a block for me to
Hmm.
fully step into this intuitive nature, right? Because
Yeah.
I didn't believe that I was the expert, right? And
Yes.
that's why I would say Kevin had a hard time convincing me, you need to be doing this, like you really need to be offering
Exactly.
this to
Right.
people, and blah blah blah. And I
Hmm.
was like, but I'm not an expert. Like this is just a gift. This just happens, you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, but what I've
I've got a hard time with
realized,
that too.
yeah, what I've learned over the years is that, number one, people don't give a shit if you don't have the language to describe, like the
Yeah.
special, higher,
Yeah.
intelligent, like whatever.
Yeah. I
People don't care about that. It's just, how can you help me?
Yeah.
You know, can you just tell me what I need to know, because like
Hmm.
I'm struggling here, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, you just learn to trust even more, and you
Hmm.
realize that that fluffy higher level, like I ain't no Jordan Peterson, okay? And
No,
I'm not saying that Jordan Peterson is highly intuitive, but he's highly intelligent,
he
right?
is.
So
Yes.
and he's very much in his head. So if I
Yes.
try to compare myself to someone like Jordan Peterson, then yeah,
Mm-mm.
I'm gonna feel like I'm lacking
No.
in some I'm lacking in
Exactly.
those areas,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Like
But
I
I
can't keep up
wouldn't,
with him.
yeah, so I wouldn't compare myself to him, because what he may know because of his studies, and because
Hmm.
of his, you know, his capability to recall information, obviously,
Hmm.
you know, I would know just intuitively, and I wouldn't be able to necessarily explain it. I would just be like, I don't know, I just know,
Exactly. And
you
that makes
know?
it hard too because it's like, how do you know? I get
Yeah,
that all. How do you know? So I think that's why I got into kind of describing what I was feeling or where I was coming from,
yeah,
because people look at you like you're crazy sometimes. Even if
right,
they understand the information, get the information, use the information, they still sometimes don't believe the information.
right,
They'll try it, but not because they believe you. You know what I mean? Like, so it makes it hard. So when you have readings that are connected to chakras and the other person's energy, then they can say, "Hey, yeah, you're right, because this is my energy on the board here. This is what I am feeding to you."
right,
So then they get it. They understand it.
right. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to address something, because
Okay.
and I'm going to show it. Um, are you going to change the name of this page? I haven't seen much postings in a while, and now lately it's like the whole mission statement has changed. Well, that, Teresa, I'm acknowledging your question, and I just don't know where you're coming from, because this is going to multiple pages. So if you could tell me where you're where you are, like if you're in a group or in one of the pages, like I got to know where you are in order for me to be able to effectively answer that question. And I'm willing to answer it. I just need to know where you're coming from. So let me know where you're coming from, and then I can effectively answer that question. So, yeah. But I mean, ultimately, because this is my sense of it, this is just my sense of it based on the limited information you've given me. Ultimately, everything that we're trying to be about right now is solutions. So I feel that even with what Krista and I are doing right now, okay, 1 million charges. Okay, I am affiliated with 1 million charges, but I'm not the creator of 1 million charges. And I simply share it on there because I feel like there's value to offer the people that are part of Million Charges. So just to be clear, but still everything comes down to solutions, helping to offer people solutions. And I feel very strongly that what Chris and I are talking about right now is very valuable to those people, well, everybody really, that needs to learn to, if nothing else, trust their intuition. Because we know for us personally how it has radically changed our own lives, to finally to finally accept, right, that our intuition knows best.
Yes.
Right? Because we did get kicked in the ass multiple times in our lives because we didn't listen to our own intuition. We do not need to look to an outside authority, right, for the answers. We really don't. You know, if you want facts, if you want, like, there are people that you can go to get those facts. But if you learn to listen to your intuition, you already know the answer before you even get those facts. The facts just kind of prove it. They just kind of like, they're the evidence, right? They're the feedback. And let's face it, Krista, we do still enjoy getting that feedback, right?
Oh, for sure.
We don't need it, but once in a while it's like, I knew.
It's good to know.
Yeah, it's good to have those facts come at you. So, I mean, thank you, by the way, Teresa, for asking that question, because I think it's important. Because, like I said, this is going to multiple places. And so ultimately, my personal mission, and I know Krista feels this way, and that's why we've decided to do this little podcast, if you will, together, is because we both want to help people. And we want to reach a bigger audience, because working one-on-one with people, it's great, but you're only working with that one person. And so in order for us to be able to reach more people and help people understand the importance of trusting their own intuition, because, oh my goodness, if more people just did that, how would that radically change this planet and the trajectory that this planet is on? Like, really?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So super
and because
important.
there's so much information.
Yeah.
And people don't know how to figure it out, or where to get the right information, or backup, or whatever.
So trust
It's
what you
good
feel.
to be able to know how to feel, whether it feels right for you or not. It doesn't matter if it's right or if it's wrong. It's how it feels to you. So even if you and I have the same beliefs, we don't have to believe the same thing. We don't have to have the exact same views on everything. All we have to do is know what's right for us and our loved ones.
Yep. That's right. That's right. And we talked about this last night when I was in a meeting, and I've had so many people that have challenged me over these last 4 years in particular, we'll say, okay, that have challenged me and said, well, how do you know what you think is true? How do you know that you're speaking the truth? And I'm like, listen, I don't need the facts, right? I don't need those facts to be shown to me for me to know what I know is true, because I feel it. And I have worked really, really hard in my life to trust what I feel, because like I just said, and Krista and I know this, we have been kicked in the ass really hard when we did not listen. right?
Yes.
When we did not
Yeah.
listen. So we've learned the hard way. So part of the reason I think Krista and I are even doing this Soul Sister Cafe right now is because
Exactly.
we want to shorten the learning curve for you
Yes.
folks, right?
It took
We
me
want to make
years.
it easier for you guys because
Yes.
we've been through it, right? We've been
Yeah.
through it. And so we want to help you to learn to trust yourself so
Hmm.
that we don't end up in another mess like we have been in the last few years.
Exactly. And I mean,
That's
as far as the, building up, I personally, it's taken me from 2018 when I made that board to now to be comfortable enough to go outside my local area.
you
I mean,
haven't been doing it
I've
outside
been,
your
I was doing fairs and I've gone to a couple local businesses on and off and, a few cities away and whatever, but no,
see.
I've only done two online readings and you were one and the other person was somebody that I already knew that just didn't live near me. Like
So
I
Krista,
just,
being someone who experienced what you do, my first response in my head is, what a shame. What a
oh,
shame.
well,
Because
that's good.
there's so many people that could really be benefited from what you have to offer. But here it is, you're 54. Is that right? Did I
I'm
get
going to
the
be
53?
53 this
Okay.
year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're 53 this year. And it took you till this year.
Hmm.
Okay. And this is 6 years after you discovered or channeled this
Channeled, like
board.
I channeled. How did
Yeah.
that happen?
All right.
Right?
It just
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's
So
it's
it
a
took you
matter of
6 years to
it's a matter of
accept.
working on, yeah,
Yes.
it's working on the emotional, um,
Yeah.
basically your sacral chakra,
Yeah.
working on your sacral and your solar plexus. And I know who I am.
Yeah.
And up until recently, I wasn't comfortable with who I was. But this last 4 years is like, I'm very comfortable in my skin. If I can know what's right for myself like that
Yeah.
from practice, everybody can do it.
That's right.
And so that's why when this whole thing started, instantly, I didn't even have to think about it. It was just a instant rejection. Like
Totally.
as if I was just going, no way, just
Yep.
instantly no. And
Yep.
that's where your intuition will be when you work on it.
My
You will
my
build it
initial
up.
response was that doesn't feel right. That
Yeah,
just does not feel
definitely.
right to me at all.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like the same old tune. If it doesn't feel right, then it's not right.
Hmm.
If it makes you
Yeah.
question it, there's something wrong with it. And
Yeah.
I've taught my kids that. Like growing up, I've always taught my kids to ask questions. If it doesn't feel right, ask. Ask what you need to ask to make yourself feel comfortable in whatever decision you make.
Yep.
That's the
Because
only way you're
often
going to know.
this gets in the way, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Like
Yeah.
everybody gets the feeling, they just ignore it, right? They
Oh, for
just
sure.
disregard it,
Yeah.
ignore it, whatever. And then what I find is the head gets in the way because what happens is the thinking starts, right? So we move
Hmm.
from the feeling, which is our intuition, to
Yes.
thinking,
The
which is
logical.
up here, right?
Yeah.
And that oftentimes pulls a person off course because we get things,
Yes.
but what if, and then this, and this, and then, da, 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 and you think
Hmm.
yourself to death. Like you think
Yes.
yourself to death,
Yeah.
you know?
Yes.
And
And it's
the
hard.
biggest mistakes I've made in my life have come from here. I'll be honest with you. Um,
Yes. Same.
it has, because if you have to think about it, I, just my take on it. But if you have to really think about it, then you haven't listened to what your
Hmm.
intuition told you,
Yeah.
right?
For a lot of years, I used to say in my head, I would say, "What would my nanny and pappy think if I did this?" But now I know that that's
Oh,
not
so
that.
they were
That's what
your
my intuition
conscience.
was. It was my intuition, and it was like, but to me, it was like, okay, because myself, I had my grandparents up on a pedestal. So I thought whatever would disappoint them is something I shouldn't be doing.
Interesting.
Right.
So you
So
transferred
it
it
was
onto them.
yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I totally did. All these years.
Just like people will transfer it onto their pendulums or
Yep.
their boards or the
Yep.
cards or whatever
Yep.
tool they might use. They transfer that
Hmm.
messaging onto them because it's like one step removed, right?
Yeah. And there's also the acceptance thing too. Like you have any, so why am I able to do this? Why
Right.
am I special? What
Right.
makes me different than somebody else? Right.
Yeah.
And it's not that we are, it's just that we've had so many years of programming convincing us we're not good enough, we're not what we should be, we're not who we should be,
Yeah.
and we start believing it.
Yep.
I can remember incidents that happened when I was like really young. And now when I look back, I know what it was, but at the time I didn't know what it was.
Right.
And even then I was reading people,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
but I didn't know I didn't know that it was a thing. I didn't,
No.
like, I had no idea,
No.
but it helped me through my life, but I never
I
uh,
when I
accepted or expressed it.
Yeah, right. When I look back on it now, I realize that a lot of that time that I was spending by myself,
Hmm.
for me, music was therapeutic. Okay.
Hmm.
So I would listen to music and I would sing with the music and I would just,
Hmm.
oftentimes it would be sad music, but not always. But I mean, I would
Yeah.
just pour my heart out in through song. Okay.
Yes,
That was my
definitely.
thing. That was just how I
Too.
did it. Did you do it that way too?
Another commonality. Yeah. It's all about the music. Like
Oh,
you can lose yourself in music
oh yeah.
if it's hitting the right chakras.
Yes. Yeah. Totally. And I would just sing my heart out.
Hmm.
Like music was everything. Like it really, really was. It was and now I understand it was the greatest therapy in the world
Oh,
for
for
me.
sure.
And
Yeah.
honestly, it probably saved my life in a lot of ways. Like really, there were times, like some
Hmm.
really, really dark times that I went through,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
music was a total saving grace for me. Like, oh my God. Um,
Like the ones
but
that it's like it'll ping you right in the chakra. It's
ah,
like
there you go.
the note hits your body. Do you know what I mean? And it
Yeah,
almost feels like a ping.
absolutely. Absolutely. No
Yeah.
question. Yeah,
It's
I mean, I
amazing.
don't I don't need music in the same way now because
No.
I've released, right, those pains and traumas and things that I was experiencing back then. But I remember even when my mom, like I remember when I divulged to my mom, I was like 30, I think, when it 29 or 30 when it happened. But I was telling what happened was is okay, I was sexually abused as a child. Okay, that is something I
Hmm.
experienced. A lot of people experience that, a
Hmm.
lot. But anyway, I had done some journal writing about it. And
Hmm.
so what I did was I sat with my mom and I read my journal to her because there was no way that I could go through all that on my own. Like I'm a writer in that regard
Hmm.
and so I was able to really get my feelings out in that journal writing.
Hmm.
So I read that to her. And when I did, she looked at me and she said, "I finally understand you. Like I finally understand why you were the way you were growing up, why you spent so
Hmm.
much time alone.
Yeah.
I was I, now I understand I was protecting myself from everybody else's energy around me, right? I didn't have the
Yes.
language to describe that when I
No.
was 10 years old, you know? Like
No.
I didn't know and I didn't have any exposure to any of this sort of higher level, esoteric kind of thinking. Like that
No.
was totally foreign to me growing up in small town New Brunswick, let me tell you. Like it just
I think
did not exist.
a part of my healing was realizing, and this will probably help you too, just because of our age group. Um, at that time, people didn't talk about that. Nobody even
No,
heard about that. You don't
no,
talk about that. No, it doesn't matter if it happened or not. You still don't talk about it because you
no.
just don't talk about it.
Which are you talking
People
about? Are you
didn't
talking about
know how to
intuition,
deal
or are
with
you
it.
talking? What are you talking about? Don't talk
I'm
about
talking
what?
about I'm talking about sexual abuse.
Oh God, no. Oh no, 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 no,
Our parents didn't know what to
no,
do with it.
no.
They didn't know how to react. They didn't know if they should call the police. They didn't know if they should
Yep.
get physical. They didn't know what to do.
Yes.
So we'll
And
just pretend that it didn't happen and we'll pray to God that you forget about it.
well, yes. And interestingly, I'm glad you bring that up, because that's exactly how my mother responded to it after she said that initially to me. I understand you better now. Now I understand why you would go in the basement and you'd crank the music in the speakers and you would just sing and sing and sing, and like, and then
Mhm.
she said, if I had known back then, I would have gone over and killed him, right? Because it was a
But
neighbor.
that's a post reaction to
Yes,
a more emotionally mature mom,
of course. But you know
right?
what? My response to her when she said that to me was, well, then you know what? I'm glad I didn't tell you back then, because what good would that have done for me if you had in your rage gone over and attacked this dude, right? And maybe she would have, like, I don't know, maybe she would have ended up killing him. I'm
Mhm.
like, how would that have benefited me growing up without my mom? So, you know
Yeah.
what? I said, I'm glad that I never told you that I was sexually abused when I was younger. And
Mhm.
I had to come to a place in myself where I could handle all of that information, where I was
Mhm.
mature enough and evolved, I would say, enough in my own consciousness,
Mhm.
where I could literally talk about it and it wouldn't upset me.
Yeah.
Like, did you get to that place, Krista, in yourself?
Well, for the first 16 years, I didn't remember it.
Yeah.
Well, so first 10 years, right?
Yeah.
Um, then when I did, I thought I was losing my mind because I thought this didn't happen. This
Mm.
I'm
I'm
imagining this.
making
This is
this
not
up.
real.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so finally, I used to. My mom and dad were split up, so I went to my mom's and I said to her, I said, I'm going to ask you something. I'm just going to say it. I
Mhm.
said, and I just want to know whether it's true or not. That's all. I said, don't tell me anything. I just want to know whether it's real. And so I said to her, did this happen? And she said, oh my God. Oh my God. She said, the doctor said you'd never remember. That's what she said to me.
Wow.
And then I
Mm.
was like, then I was like crushed because I thought my parents knew and did nothing. That's what I thought, right? My parents knew and did nothing. And it took me
Yeah.
that long. Like in 2012, I was watching, I don't know if it was Dr. Phil or some kind of talk show, and that's what it
Sure.
was about. And the girl was, I think she was 1970, so she was like a year older than me. But she was saying in 1970s, they didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to
No.
deal with it. They didn't talk about it. Even if it
No.
was going on for years and years and years, they wouldn't talk about it.
Yeah.
And even if they did talk about it, what do you do about it? We didn't go to psychiatrists.
Yeah.
We didn't, they just hoped we'd forget about it. Like
Yeah.
there was no, but it took me that long to realize that I needed to stop blaming dad for not having, or I should say that I blame my dad because he's supposed to be the protector in in
Yeah.
my learnings, right?
Yeah.
Um,
In your
that I thought he
programming.
didn't, he chose not to protect me is what I was thinking.
Right.
And then as I got older, and then when I saw that talk show, it was like, oh my God, he honestly didn't know what to do with it.
No.
It wasn't that he didn't want to help me, and it wasn't that he thought I deserved it or that anything I was doing was wrong.
No.
It's that they didn't know how to deal with it.
So,
None of them knew.
okay, that's right. And I'm glad you brought that up as well, because what that leads into, I believe, is
Mhm.
forgiveness,
Yes.
right?
And
And the way that you can forgive another person for something they did in the past,
mhm,
especially when it was a long time ago like that. But the way that you
mhm.
can forgive them is because you accept that they were doing the best that they could with
With
the
the information that
resources
they
that
had.
they had
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
time,
Yep.
right? So, given
Definitely.
their internal resources, their mental resources, their intellectual resources, their,
Mhm.
emotional resources, everything that your parents were dealing with at the
And their
time.
traumas.
Yeah, and their
And
own
their
past
traumas too.
traumas. Yeah, let's
Yes,
face it, they
definitely.
had them
It's
too, right?
it feels like it's more our generation that is choosing to work on it.
Yes, there's
Like,
no
more like,
question. There's more of a
and then the younger,
propensity.
like, just kind of born into it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, we're like,
Like, they don't
we
understand
wanna
what we
stop the
went
cycle.
through
Yeah.
because they don't understand that this is still very new, right?
Yeah.
Dealing with your
And we
past
want to
traumas
stop
in a
cycles.
very open way
Mhm.
is still, I would say, quite recent.
Mhm.
More this last
Yeah.
decade for sure. But like you
Mhm.
said, our kids grew up with us being far more open with them,
Yeah.
right? About these kinds of things. So to them, it's sort of just accepted. It's just second nature for them,
Yeah.
right?
For
Yeah.
sure.
And in a
Yeah.
way, it was probably a problem because maybe, I don't know about you, but I was almost like too open with them. you
Yeah.
know?
I was pretty open with my kids.
Yeah.
And then I had 2 stepdaughters as well that were older than my kids.
Yeah.
So when I walked into the situation, so when my kids were, like, under 10, I had teenagers.
Right.
So I had to, like I had to, like, learn fast.
Yes. That's right.
But also I think my reading people came into play there as well, because it
Yeah.
made it easier to decipher whether they were being honest with me or not.
Tell me about it. See, but I know that's the downside though. I mean,
Yeah,
it's great for us as moms because we're just like, no, no,
yeah.
no, they're not telling us the truth. You're lying, and this is what you're lying about, and this
But
is
they fall for it every time too, because when we know that, we're
yeah,
asking them because we already know the answer.
that's right.
And we're giving them the opportunity to come clean. And they don't do
Most
it.
often they don't,
Yeah.
right?
No.
It's a
It's like,
self-protection mechanism that you go
yeah,
into, where
yeah,
it's just, yeah, yeah, totally,
yeah.
totally,
And I can
totally.
I can remember looking at my kids, and I'd ask them something, and it just I read eyes. Like, I'll stare into their eyes,
Hmm.
and I can tell whether it's true. Even with my exes, they always have their tells. Like, you
Yeah,
can tell when they're lying. But I always assumed that it was just that I was just aware of these things. I never
yeah,
knew that it was a thing. I never knew
right,
that it's something that I could develop and make stronger until
right,
I did,
right.
right?
So true.
It is true, and
Yeah.
it's
But
so
again,
magical too.
it is
Magical that we can do
magical.
that.
It absolutely is magical when you can fully embrace it, right?
Mhm.
Fully embody it. And
Yeah.
it becomes such a beneficial part of your life, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
It's through the learning process and the acceptance of having these higher developed abilities, right? That is tough. It is because
Mhm.
like what I when I look back on it now, it was really hard to be in the presence of people that were lying
Mhm.
because I knew, right? And let's just say, for instance, like I knew like a family member was lying, right?
Mhm.
Like many years ago. We'll say in my first marriage or whatever.
Mhm.
And I remember times like if lying in bed with that person or sitting talking to that person, and
Mhm.
I would express, say to my first husband, well, blah 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 about that person that in the
Mhm.
family, and
Mhm.
it would just be like, huh? How do you know
Mhm.
that? I'm like, I don't know. I just know that. And it weirded him out. I do know that because he actually
Yeah.
told me, like, it weirded him out. He was just like,
Mm-hmm.
how do you know that
Yeah.
shit? But what made it really hard to be in relationship with people that were lying, not necessarily to
Mm-hmm.
me directly,
Yeah.
but there was
Mm-hmm.
deception happening, you know? And when
Yeah.
you know that about the person, just
Mm-hmm.
because you just feel it, it made it really hard. It did. It made it hard because there was, I don't know about you, but because I grew up with these secrets in my life, like having to
Mm-hmm.
keep secrets, like the child abuse, um, I was adopted at birth, and that whole dynamics of having been born of that 14-year-old, and it was all secret. It was a big family secret.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like my entire existence I've had to keep these secrets, to keep
Yeah.
other people happy, right?
Yeah.
um but so I think for me, I kind of naturally went the other way, where it was like, well, let's just tell the truth. Like, let's just tell the truth. Let's
Mm-hmm.
tell, no matter what, right? And other people don't necessarily like that.
I'm laughing because you just sound like you're me talking, because it's the same way that I go about things, right? And it's like we just
Yeah,
know, like, because of the abuse and the bad childhood and whatever,
yeah,
we know when we have to walk on the eggshells.
yeah,
You learn to read people out of fear so that you
yes.
know in advance how they're going to behave.
Self-protection.
Yep.
Yes,
It's
yes,
survival mode.
yes, absolutely.
And the longer you're in survival mode, I find the more intense and faster even that this is going to, like, if once you start doing this, it's like, it's almost like you're open for anything that can help you heal by that point.
Yeah,
And once you find it, it's like, this is amazing. This is helping me. And it's just like you just can't get enough of it. You're
yeah,
reading this and you're reading that and you're trying this and you're trying that. And
yeah.
all you want to do is help people to help themselves. That's all.
Exactly. Prevent them the same pain that you have
Yes.
felt,
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
definitely.
And it's very honorable. It really is, like, to have those intentions, right? To
Hmm.
want that for other people. But I don't know about you, Krista, but I have learned that not everybody wants to heal, and not
No.
everybody wants to face their truth. Not everybody wants to have these things brought to their attention. And so that's the other piece I find to having a really highly developed intuition, is you need to learn how to read people when they're also telling you that too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But
I think
that's why,
ultimately,
as a therapist, I would say to people, if you don't want honesty, just don't come see me,
yeah.
because I'm not going to hold back. I'm now at a point in my life where it's like, I believe if you're coming to me, it's because you really need this, and
Yeah.
you don't even realize that it is what you need until you get it, right? And
Exactly.
usually
Yeah.
process it and integrate it and whatever. And I mean, I just trust that I'll say they, right? But those souls on the other side, they know a hell of a lot better than I do. So I
Yeah.
just trust that if they're coming and telling me shit, then I just got to listen to it and share it, because the person in front
Yep.
of me is there for a reason, and I
Yep.
just need to share it. But I am definitely radical truth teller. I'm definitely a radical truth teller. I don't
Same.
bullshit around. Like, I don't waste
Nope.
time anymore. There
Nope.
was a
Get
time
her
I did.
done.
Yeah. But I mean, let's face it, if we're out in public and I'm picking something up about people, I'm not gonna, like, approach them and just be like, like, no, I'm not gonna do that. You just don't do that shit. But I mean, I've had people say that stuff to me. Like, I've
Yeah.
had these really strange occurrences, like, many years ago. We're talking, like, I've been with Kevin 17 and a half years, so we're talking like 20 years ago or more. I remember being at an airport and someone coming up to me with this thick German accent, and she went, "You are German." And I was like, "What? You are German." And I was
Yeah.
like, well, my biological father's last name is Shriver, so I guess that's German. So
Hmm.
yes, I guess there's a German descent. I don't care. You are German. It's just like,
Yep.
Okay. So I don't know what the hell she was picking up, but
She was picking up a past life.
she had to have been, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Or my descendants. Maybe she could see my descendants around me. I don't know, right? So I
Yeah.
was just like,
Just
okay,
like me. Look at me. I picked up something on you too, right? About your
yes,
descent,
that's right.
right? It's the same thing.
Yep.
It's like sometimes when you look at people, not everybody, but sometimes when you look at people, you
Yeah.
just know you were this person, you were this person once. You just know when you look at them. And out of all this, we always have the choice to be better or bitter.
Oh, that's a good quote,
So we
actually.
teach each other what we need to know, the tools we need.
Yep.
You have the decision to make whether you want to be better or bitter.
Yeah.
If you choose bitter, then you're going to have a really hard, difficult life and probably come back and do it again, even worse.
Yep.
But if you choose better, then we can work on it now. We can break a lot of cycles. We
Yeah.
can make our daughters be healthy young women who carry on in a different way than we did
Yeah.
and create a different solution for our children.
Well, that's the hope.
Stop walking on the eggshells.
Yeah, like that's the hope because I think ultimately as parents, I'm just gonna say as moms, because let's face it, we're moms and that's just the way it is. I ain't
Mhm.
no breastfeeder thingy, whatever they call them now. I'm an actual mom. Okay,
Yeah.
biologically, I'm a mom.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Me too.
and yeah, I've given birth to two children,
Yes.
and I do have two
Me too.
stepchildren too. But we don't see them as stepchildren. For us, it's just this is our family. We're a family of
Same.
six, and
And
that's
that's
just
what yeah, that's how I
yeah,
describe it too. And I describe them as my daughters. But
yeah.
I kind of, as I got older, and now I'm kind of saying it like they're my stepdaughters because now the youngest one's 33, so that makes me look even older.
Ah,
And the
because
other
your
one's 5 years
husband's older.
older,
Yeah,
38
yeah,
years old, the other one, right? So it's like,
yeah.
right?
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. But I mean, ultimately, like as moms, I think that that's what we want for our children is we want
mhm,
to help them break those cycles, right? So that they don't
exactly.
continue the cycles that we experienced growing up.
Exactly.
And I have found this, Krista, I really have. I found that the longer or the harder I tried, right, the more I worked to try to prevent those patterns in
Hmm.
my own life with my kids. I
Uh-huh.
feel like it kind of might have had a little bit of a
Oh, yeah.
what do you call it? Like it kind of made
Had
it
an
like
effect.
a yeah, it had a negative effect because I
Yeah.
was trying too hard, right? I
Yeah.
don't want you to be like me, or I don't want you to have to go through what I did,
Hmm.
and so I was just like and so I think in a way, of course, I
Yeah.
gave my kids some, of course I gave them some issues they need to work through.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I know I'm not perfect. And like, actually, when
No,
I left the first time, the reason in my mind, what I was saying in my mind was, I don't want my daughters to think it's okay to be treated like this. And I
yeah,
don't want my son to think it's okay to treat women like this.
right,
That was my first thought. But then I stayed for an extra 5 years because I had to build up the courage, make a plan, make sure I was settled, whatever. And now when I look back, I think I should have left the 5 years earlier because I feel like I had a hand in more damage to my children because of what I allowed to happen while I was trying to get my shit together,
right,
basically, right? And
yep,
it's hard. But
yep,
now my kids look back at me as a strong single mother who made it work
yep,
and did what I had to do to make it work.
right.
Instead of when they were younger, it's like, you're so mean, you never let us do anything, right? But now they know it came from a place of love and they're better people because of it.
Yep, for sure.
My daughter's an amazing mother.
Mhm.
And I like to think that she learned a little bit of it from me. She's just very
Own it.
doting to her daughter.
Take that
Yeah.
credit.
And I'm like, and I see,
Damn it.
I see, I see my daughter and her, and I see, I mean, I see all these commonalities, and I'm thinking back, and I was like, I wish I'd known when my daughter was this age, all this stuff, because now it helps me associate with my granddaughter better. even
Ah,
before she could
yes.
talk,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Like even now, she'll go, Nana, and she'll grab my hand because I know I'm that for her.
Yeah.
And so I know that I've given her that safe place. That's what I
Right.
want my kids to have, a safe place.
Yes. Well, and I think part of that is them realizing that we will love them unconditionally.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
They pick on us the worst because they know we're gonna stick around.
I know. And that's what I've had to accept that with one of my kids in particular.
Me too.
You know who you are.
Yeah,
You
I know which one
know.
you're talking about.
Yeah, but I mean, I had to accept that because, yeah, they're going to challenge us the most,
Oh,
right?
for
They're going to
sure.
test our
Yeah.
love. Like, because I
Hmm.
remember when my mom used to, and dad used to say it too, actually, about some siblings in the family. They'd say, I have to love her, but I don't have to like her, you
Yeah,
know?
that was me.
And right. And so
Yeah.
it's like, well, yeah, okay, that's one thing. But I did find that, these kids that test us, and this is just a different perspective. So, those six of you right now that are watching this, you might actually get some value from this. That those that intuitively know that you need to be challenged in that regard, to practice, your unconditional
Hmm.
loving skills. They will test you. They will test you, but they won't necessarily consciously know that they're doing that, right? But
Oh,
they
I think
will.
mine does.
Well, maybe once they get to a certain point, maybe, and who knows, right? But I
This
mean,
kid,
I
seriously.
actually, but and maybe that's just my own sort of deflection, right? Or my own self-protection mechanism to just go, oh, it's
Yeah.
okay. It's just his unconscious mind it's testing me. It's testing me. But you know what? I succeeded. I won the test, or I whatever. Like I feel like I did exactly what I promised always that I would do, that I would love my kids unconditionally.
Yeah.
And no matter how hard they've made it different times, and let's face it, that's life. I continue to love my kids. And,
Hmm.
I don't have to like everything about their personalities. I don't have to
No.
love every bit of their behavior. Like, no, I'm
Oh,
human, right? But
yeah.
damn it, I will always provide that safe place for them. If
Yeah,
they
for
ever
sure.
need a safe place to fall, right, I will be there no matter what, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even my daughter and her friend, I remember, I give out keys, and it's like, I don't want you to ever feel that you have nowhere safe to go.
Mm, yeah.
Now, I know my daughter doesn't need it now, but she still has the key, just in case you, especially I find our girls really need a lot of a lot of support in that way, because there's not a lot of moms and dads that are into being supportive that way. And some girls just need, just that one person to tell them that it doesn't have to be that way, you know?
Well, thank you for saying that, because I think we do wonder sometimes if, like, is that just me that's doing that with my daughter? Or so it's good to hear you saying that, because I can totally relate to that.
Hmm.
She has always needed that little bit extra, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And I always thought it was just fine, like it's okay. But
Yeah.
maybe the other child or other children,
Hmm.
feel like they don't get quite the same treatment,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I don't
Hmm.
know. Maybe my son feels that way. I don't know.
Well,
But
my children feel very very comfortable vocalizing their opinions about things, so yes, that is true.
all right then, but I just felt
Yeah.
like I was giving my kids what I thought they needed at the time, what I felt they
Yeah.
needed, and just
Exactly.
some
Yeah.
kids need a little extra at different times,
Hmm.
and just the way it
But
is, right?
sometimes that's viewed as, obviously that child's your favorite because you're spending more time on that child. I'm like, Lord Jesus, what do you want me to do? He's
Yeah,
out of control.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, It's not
Totally.
that I don't want to pay the extra attention. It's that I've only got these many hours and he's taking all of them at the moment,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And that
Totally.
happens.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Absolutely.
happens. You have to be able to, you know,
Yeah.
work where you got it, right? Especially if you're a single mother. You
Yeah.
have to be able to like, okay, I understand we need to have this discussion, but right now I need to handle this and I'll be right back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you don't want to feel them to feel that they don't have that open space for that. But at the
That's
same
right.
time, you have to make sure you take care of one situation before you move into the next.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Clean up one
Totally.
mess.
Listen, my kids are all grown just like yours are, and I
Uh-huh.
don't pretend one damn bit that I was somehow some superhuman mom because I was just a mom. I was just a mom
Exactly.
doing the best that I could with the resources
Yep.
I had at the time. And as
Exactly.
I
And that's what
learned,
we're supposed to do.
right, and that's where that quote comes from: when you know better, you do
You
better,
do better. Yep.
right?
Yeah,
So
I
that's
believe that.
that's just what we
And that
do.
helps a lot with the forgiveness thing too, because
Totally.
as a child's mind doesn't understand that you don't know better or that you don't
Right.
have the correct information.
Yeah.
But as you get older, you can look back and say, I get it. I forgive that because at the time, that's all that person knew what to do. That's all they
That's
knew.
right. That's right.
You know, and I can look at even my own situation as a stepmother, and having one and being one are two very different roles for me.
Oh yeah.
Way, way different.
Yeah.
And but at the same time, now my daughter knows how to be a good stepmom if she needs to be.
Yeah.
And my stepdaughters know how to be a good stepmom if they need to be.
Yeah.
Because I broke that one. I broke that pattern.
Awesome.
And then we watch our children breaking more patterns. And that's what we're teaching them everything that we had to learn over a massive amount of time.
Yeah.
But because we already know it, we say, here's a tip.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I don't know if you ever did this, Krista, but this is something that I used to say to my kids all the time. And if they happen to be, listening to this, they're going to chuckle. But I used to say, one day you'll thank me. One day you'll thank me. I know it sucks right now and I know you're mad or whatever it might have been, but one
Yeah.
day you'll thank me. And it's already starting to happen, right? My
Yeah.
daughter's 28. I have 28, 28, 26, and 21. So I'm already seeing it kind of coming back now, right? I don't have any
Mhm.
grandchildren yet, but I'm
Yeah.
sure when I have grandchildren, that's when I'm really going to see it, right?
Well, even with my kids,
In their parents.
I'll say something um, like when they were growing up, you never let us do anything. You never let us go anywhere. You're always so controlling. You don't let, and I'm like, in what universe do you think that I would think it was okay for you to go underage drinking at somebody's house you should know better? No, you're not going.
Yeah.
I was very strict. But you know
Yeah.
what? Then my daughter had friends who said to her, you're so lucky that you have a mom that cares. My mom
Perspective.
doesn't care where I'm at.
Yes, it's different perceptions of from people,
Yeah,
right? Different, like people see things from a different view based on
yeah,
their life experience, right?
yeah. And even though your
Totally.
kids complain about it,
Yeah.
they're still bringing people to you. Here, come see my mom. She can help you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They're always bringing people to you so they know that what you're doing is the best thing that you can do for them.
That's
They
right.
just don't want to admit
No.
it.
Hell no.
But no, I think it's good. I think we're doing what we need to do. Just get the information out there that you can work on this. Um, I'm always open for messaging if anybody has any questions about anything
Well, Krista, I want
spiritual or
you
whatever.
do you have an actual website? Like, do you actually have a personal website or a page on
I
Facebook or
have I have Krista Curtis on Facebook,
okay,
and then I have
can you put it in the comments? Can you actually put it in there
I don't
what it's called? Because I think it's
okay.
important
I
for
was like, I don't even know
people.
where the comments are. Here they are.
Oh, you don't?
Um,
Okay, what is it? And I'll put it in.
um, well, just Krista Curtis on Facebook is me, but also Zen Conscious in capital letters. I can do that one. I don't know how just a second here. See if I can. I'll
Oh
just
yeah,
open the
Zen
page.
Conscious is your group, right?
Yeah,
I can put that up there.
myself and my friend. Okay, this is
Zen
my conscious,
conscious. Okay.
and
So
this
you
is
can
my personal
certainly,
Facebook.
okay, I put it up there. I put it up there. Yeah. Zen
There.
conscious group. Yeah. That's a good little group where you're sharing stuff. And people can reach out to you at either one of those places,
Oh,
right?
yes, for sure.
Yeah.
This one I just posted. I don't know if you can see my Krista Curtis, like just my personal one.
Hmm.
It might be a little harder to message me through there because I think I have it so you can't find me. But I
Okay.
think if you click on this actual link, I think it'll take you to me. But Zen Conscious for sure, you can message me on there too. Um, about anything. Like if you have any questions about anything, or if you want to set up a reading, give me a shout. I'm not real good at doing the whole videotaping thing, but we'll figure it out eventually.
You'll figure it out.
I'll figure
Well,
it out.
I'll tell you right. I gave you your testimonial because I want people to understand that the board that you use, you channeled that information. You
Yes,
created that board based on that message coming through to you,
yes,
and
yep,
you use crystals right
mm-hmm,
on that board to
yep,
read that energy and then share with people. So you share
mm-hmm,
with people immediate things that are a couple weeks or so into the future and then
mm-hmm.
further into their future, right?
Yeah, further if you follow the program.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
basically,
So
you can't get to the end if you don't do the beginning and the middle,
okay, well there you go.
right?
And
It's
and,
just
and
like
it's up to
anything
the
else.
person. It's up to the
Yeah,
person. It's their
totally.
responsibility to yeah,
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 and
totally.
I've even
That's
noticed
one
a huge
thing.
difference between like
Yes.
a reading now and a reading in a month. They're always different.
Exactly. Because you're starting with a whole that's what I used to say to people when I was doing craniosacral therapy. It's like when I see you next, I'm starting with a whole new body.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's different. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah. So you're available for your readings,
Mm-hmm.
and I am actually available because I'm now taking on clients. I am.
Yay.
Yay! I'm taking on personal clients for
That's good.
I'm just saying intuitive consulting because for me that just kind of captures it
Yeah.
all. Um, but yep, just direct message me, right? You can, and any one of the places where this has shown up for
Mm-hmm.
you, you can certainly find me through there. But I think this was fun. So this was our first time, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is our first time recording
Yes.
and doing a live stream together, and it was a lot of fun. So we're going to do more of these for sure
Mm-hmm.
and maybe have a little bit of a schedule. Maybe I know you and I both are just sort of like
Yeah.
go with the flow, whatever. It's all good.
Whatever works. Also, I wanted to mention too on the Zen Conscious page.
Yeah,
I used to have a business page, but I don't like being forced into meta garbage.
yeah.
So my Facebook page for product is not available much anymore. So I've been posting my product on the Zen Conscious page.
Okay.
So if you see something new pop up on there, any craft or thing you see pop up on there, that will be me making stuff. Just so
Yes.
you know.
And you do make beautiful things. Like, holy, the stuff you were showing
Thank
me
you.
yesterday, I was just like blown away. Because I don't have, like, I'm not crafty like that at all. I think I would like to be, but I'm not. It's just not my lane, right? But it's definitely yours.
I also do grids on the new and the full moon,
Okay.
the crystal
There you
grids, and
go.
I put them on this unconscious page, and so people can add their name to be added to the grid for healing. Um, so that's
Okay.
always every new and full moon. So that'll be on
Okay.
that
Well,
page
there
as
you
well.
go. Okay. Well, there you go. So awesome. So we covered a whole lot of stuff today. There's no question. And I think that
Mhm.
there's things that we could probably dive in a little bit deeper, even on
Oh,
some
for
of those
sure.
topics. And we invite anyone who wants to come and actually interact with us, ask us questions. Maybe we'll
Yeah.
even like, maybe we'll even intuitively
July.
answer questions for
Oh,
people
yes,
live. We'll see.
maybe.
We'll
Or do a
see.
card or two. I've got cards too. I
Yeah.
like doing
Well,
cards.
I
Yeah.
just got
We'll just
me, but I mean,
we'll just let it take us wherever it goes.
that's right.
I'm pretty open on my page too. You can always message me for anything you want to know about. Or if you're looking for other people's opinion on something, I think they pretty much all have chat things on them now. So
Yeah.
if you wanted to ask a specific question and get everybody involved in it, then that would be a good thing to do too, maybe.
Okay.
If you're
Yeah.
looking for opinions, advice,
Well,
whatever you need.
I think the key point is that we're open. We're
Oh,
open,
for
and
sure.
this
Yes.
is kind of an experiment for us doing this Soul Sister Cafe right now. And
Mm-hmm.
so you tell us, right?
Yep.
Like the people
Give us some
watching, you
ideas. What
tell
do you want to
us.
see?
What do
What
you
do you
want to
want to
see?
see?
What
What
are
do you
you
want to
looking
know?
for? How can we help? Right? Because we're here to help. We're on a mission. We really are. And so
Clearing,
by you interacting
grounding.
with us and telling us what you need, then you're going to allow us to be able to live our purpose, really, which is to, make a difference on this planet while we're here, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
cool.
so.
Awesome. Okay, so with that, I think that's a good place to end our Soul Sister Cafe episode
Yes.
numero uno.
Yay.
And I'm glad we finally got to do it, Krista. And I'm
Yes,
glad
me
that you
too.
and
It
I
was
met.
fun.
I'm glad we
Me
met.
too. And
Yeah.
I'm from like southeastern New Brunswick, and you're what?
I'm Western New
Northwest?
Brunswick.
You're western,
West.
and I'm southeastern.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Oh,
But it's a small place.
we
Like,
know
come
about you, right?
on.
No.
3 hours, you go right across the province. Like here I am in Ontario.
Exactly,
It takes like
exactly. And
3
there's so
hours.
many like the commonalities. Every time you say something, I'm like, and even the Bezo thing. Where did that come from?
I know,
Remember
right?
that? When I said Bezo, I used to call my son Bezo. And it was like, why did that just came out of my mouth? Or actually, I typed it, but it just happened. And then it was like another phrase came out of that. And I'm like, how does this even happen? Like,
I
and
know.
that's often how things happen. Like something it'll just be
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Yeah. And we came, it's all divine timing too, right? So we came
Yes.
together at the right time. Probably if we'd met
Yes.
45 years ago or 40 years ago when we were living in New Brunswick, we probably wouldn't have even liked each other. Let's face it.
No, probably. I had a little bit of a temper back then. So,
Ah,
and my
oh,
dad
you
always
were
called
one
me
of
his
those
redheaded
like,
daughter.
okay, you were one of those beefy, like Miramichi, like redneck
I
type
was like a
girl.
don't mess with me kind of girl. And
Oh, you were one
um,
of those.
yeah,
I
I was like,
remember some of those girls, especially from Boys Town.
yeah.
Ooh,
I had my actual best friend in college that I went to
yeah.
college with. She took 3 months to approach me because she was scared of me.
Oh my
We're still
god.
good friends.
We
But it's weird
definitely, yeah, no, we would not have
because I
been
gave off
friends
that
back
don't
then.
mess with me attitude. I'm not going to mess with you. So don't mess with me. Just behave.
Oh
Right.
my
And
god.
now I've worked all this time to get rid of the like anger issues. So
Yeah.
now it's like if I get into that place, I create or I go into my music or my meditation, and it's like
Yeah, you're very approachable
it's totally changed.
now.
Yes. I'm glad
Well,
I'm
I'm
approachable.
glad we met when we did, Krista.
Me too. Me too.
And now we're friends.
Yeah. Yes. I
Cool.
think it's going to be
Okay.
awesome.
So I'm going to let you go now and we will continue. The story will continue. This
To be continued.
unfolding of this
And now
this
you know the
friendship.
rest of the story.
And now you know the rest of the story.
You know what
Oh
that is
my
too, don't you?
oh my god. I love it.
Every night at supper time,
Oh
we know the
my
rest of the story.
god. Cool. Okay, have a
Okay.
great day.
You
Talk to you
too.
later.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.